Cool. Well, thanks everyone who joined us. Today we are just talking about construction of new homes. So we have Jason Evans, who is our division manager of our Iowa division. So thank you, Jason, for being here.
Yes.
And we have Brad Hibbs. He is the director of purchasing and estimating in Kansas City, but he has done construction and done some building out in the field so has Jason. So they both have a lot of experience and understand the summit process. So I have a list of questions. I would like to ask both of you these questions and we can just have a conversation going. And then at the end, we'll have time for our attendees to ask you guys some questions if they have any. Okay.
Sounds great.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Okie doke. Ready as you'll ever be.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's the first question. So I want to make sure that my buyer, as a buyer's agent, I want to make sure my buyer's home is not an experiment. So how can I be sure that Summit has built similar homes before? Brad, how would you answer that?
Easy. I'd say that we hire a very experienced team here at Summit Homes, and it takes an army to build a home. So not only do you have your personal builder, but you have your sales agent. We have a customer care team. You have the agent on site. You have a whole army that will be building your home that all not only believe in what we do, but this is our passion. And our goal is to make sure that your customer, at the end of the day, is our only focus. We want to build them a quality home and make their dream come true. And we've built thousands of homes. We don't do this for practice. We do this because it's what we love and it's what we built an entire business around.
So when you say that, what's your opinion on me hoping that my buyer doesn't feel like just another sale, another number? Because we do get that a lot, hearing that Summit builds a whole lot of houses. So how is my buyer going to feel like they're unique in the process?
Every buyer is unique because every relationship is a one-on-one. There are no two relationships the same. So for every home I've ever built in my life, I know that this is the same for all of our personal builders within Summit. You start by building a relationship, and it's a one-of-a-kind experience to give to that customer, built off of peak moments, and more than just a customer care aspect. It's a passion that they have. So your customer will be given a one-of-a-kind experience based on them, what they like, their interests, their kids, what they want, and what the finishes look like from the color choices that they make. It's their one-of-a-kind home, and it's our job to ensure we give them that one-of-a-kind experience.
Cool, thank you. So Jason, Brad had touched on a personal builder. Mm-hmm. What is that?
So a personal builder is what we call our builders that will build your home, and they are specific to you, that you'll have contact with them throughout the building process, meeting them at the beginning, and like Brad said, developing a relationship with them. But they're your go-to person for any questions, concerns you have during the build. You'll be able to meet them at the home a few different times throughout the process. And again, they're we call them personal builders because they're that it's a personal relationship that we want to have with the buyer.
Yeah. And so how does the buyer understand that relationship? Like if I'm the buyer and I'm meeting that personal builder for the first time, what's that exchange look like?
Yeah. So we have a couple of different processes that we use. One, we have a questionnaire that the customer fills out to get to know them. And all of our personal builders have also filled out a sheet of questions about them that the buyer gets. And so that's the initial information that they get. We also, call the customer within 24 hours of a new sale to introduce them over the phone, at least, and then set up a time to meet. But that's the initial contact.
That's so great. I actually have heard from buyers that they really love that relationship between the personal builder and themselves. And by the end, and I just have experience with when Brad was in the field, that you do become like friends with those people that you're building houses for. The relationship does build off of that very first step of just understanding who they are and who's going to build a house for you. But we build dreams for people, right? So like that relationship gets pretty tight.
Right.
Next question is, can we, as whether it be a buyer's agent or a buyer, visit other Summit homes to make sure that we like the quality and the construction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Brad, go ahead. Go for it.
Yeah.
Whoever.
Yeah, absolutely. We can take you through a tour. Every community that we have multiple homes that are at finishing stages and various stages throughout the entire process of construction. We can not only walk you through homes at framing stage, but we can walk through other homes at completed stages to be able to truly see all the quality through and through.
Okay, Jason?
Yeah, no, within each community, you may have to go to a different community to get to that particular plan you're looking at, but certainly throughout the metro, we would have just about one of each plan at some stage in the game. And we've actually even had, buyers here in Iowa that are looking for a plan that we haven't built here yet, and they've driven down to Kansas City to view those homes. And so that's an option too.
Yeah, we do get that a lot.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Iowa people that come to Kansas City to see our houses.
Yeah.
And that is because we have quite a bit. There's a lot of inventory that we have right now just because the market has softened just slightly. And so there is plenty of inventory to see at, like Brad and Jason both said, at different stages of construction. Now, if you have someone that wants to see something finished, but maybe prefers to see it, say it like frame stage. So they've seen something finished and they want to see it at frame stage or want to purchase something at frame stage. What would you say if somebody wants to walk one of those houses that maybe isn't complete or safe, honestly?
Sure. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing would be to schedule a time with our community manager and to also have the personal builder be there as well. So the personal builder is going to know, if this house is safe or not, and then meet you there to be able to walk through the house safely and be able to point out things.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot to see inside the walls if you want to see something that's not completely finished. Brad, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, just one on top of touching where Jason, but you have to schedule it. And the reason for scheduling, make sure it's safe. It's also making sure that it's accessible and make sure the home is open and that we're taking care of you and walking you into the home, taking care of the pathway. Say it just rained outside, or maybe on the inside, you're going through an open stairwell and make sure that it's fully safe and ready for you, your family, and anybody else you want to bring.
Very good. So who is in charge of the construction of the home and how accessible are they to the buyer? Jason, you want to start with that?
Sure. So we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but your personal builder is the one that's in charge of building your home. And they're accessible to you throughout the construction process. You'll have their cell phone number, you'll be able to text them with questions. And our process also involves having a conversation, whether that's via text or email, with the community manager and the customer and their realtor if there's one involved, and have that a weekly follow-up with them, typically like on a Friday or whatever day works best for the buyer. So as a weekly touch point, say, explain what's going on in the house that week, and what's going to happen next week.
Cool.
So
what if nothing happened that week? Do they still get a call?
you should still get a call and say that nothing happened this week and why. So, and there's going to be cases of that.
Sure. Brad?
Yeah, that your personal builder will take you through and through the construction process. And to add to it, Jason had touched on not only on your weekly touch points, but based on the communication that you like to receive, that your buyer likes to receive, you may talk more. There's some customers that just want that once a week check-in, and you have other customers that may want to talk every other day. That happens. And it's our personal builder's job to make sure that they meet the needs of the customers. So if they want to talk every other day, you'll talk more.
Yeah. So I do want to touch on something you guys mentioned too, just to clarify it for the realtors that are on. So when a contract is written and we're starting to build a house for a customer, or maybe they're buying a spec. So even though there's a buyer's agent that's representing the buyer, the customer becomes Summit Homes customer, right? Okay, so that communication that's happening weekly, or those check-in calls or those introduction calls, are those just happening with the buyer? How, and so I think the answer is yes. And then if the buyer's agent wants to be involved, how does that work?
So we typically, if the buyer's agent wants to be involved in that, we typically have like a group text that we have set up with the builder, the buyer, and their agent, as well as our community manager, so that everybody's on each one of those texts or email chains so that everybody can be part of that conversation each time it happens.
Very good. Brad, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, if it's the group text also works for the group calls. When they do the calls every week to call on the buyer, if the agent wants to be involved, they'll always loop in the buyer's agent and have merge the phone call, have a three-way with husband, wife, agent, and make sure everybody's communicated with.
Great. Yeah. And I know I would just say for the agents that are on this this call right now, if you do represent someone in a build for Summit Homes, just let us know how involved you want to be, and we'd be happy to include you. We definitely don't want to leave you out if you want to be included. Okay, next question is, how involved can the buyer be in the construction of the home? Now, we're going to go deeper with this because we get a lot of questions, but let's just kind of keep it like surface level for now. How involved can the buyer be in the construction of the home?
You want to start,
Brad.
Jason?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, either way. As far as the construction of the home, we've created an experience for you that allows you to, one, from the start of signing the contract to getting over to your design studio appointment and making all those selections, you're very involved in that aspect of the process. But from the involvement in construction of the home, you can't do any of the actual physical work on the home yourself. We can't do that for a lot of reasons, but you paid for the house, you've got a sales price, and it's our job to deliver that home to you. And most certainly shouldn't have to do any work. Your job is to sit back and watch your dream come true.
Love that. Jason?
Yeah, no, that's great. I think, you're able to watch it happen, ask questions along the way. But yeah, as far as involved of actual construction, certainly, obviously that's not the process that we have in place. So we're going to build the home for you.
Sounds good. I prefer that.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing my hammer. Can my buyer provide materials or appliances for the construction of the home? Jason, you start that one off.
Sure. No, so our process, it would be that, we provide all the materials, all the appliances. One of the major reasons for that is just goes into the warranty. In order for us to provide a warranty for the home and anything, all the components of it, we have to provide those materials. If the buyer were to provide materials, we don't know where they're sourcing those materials, and we can't guarantee you, anything about them. So, and so ultimately, no, you can't provide your own materials.
Okay. Brad, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, so covering that warranty aspect, the process of us building a home for you is we've already vetted all the materials. The products we've selected and the products we've used to put into the price of your home have been vetted from an aspect of everything for our business and what we're going to warrant. And depending on where you got that product, you also have to verify, can it even get there on time? One, two, if you supply, like the appliance as an example, if we cover the warranty entirely. But if you wanted to supply your own appliances during the build of the build process of the home, well, now that's all on you. And the other thing is what we do with our ability and our power of our size of the company, our volume of buying 400 or 500 of those items that go into so many of our homes, we give a great price. And that price is in the price of the home that's passed on to you. So it's best just to let it stay in-house so that we can cover the entire thing from beginning to end, warranty it for you, and make sure you're taken care of.
Yeah, very good. So Brad, we'll just stay on you. My buyer has their own low voltage business and wants to do the work themselves. Is this okay?
Oh, it's not. And it goes back to that warranty aspect. We have a vendor for that. It's already in the price of the home, and we cover the warranty through and through for you. So it's one of those items where no, we can't. And it's a part of our process to make sure that, again, we take care of you from beginning to end, and you get to say hands off and just watch it be built.
Sure.
Jason, you want to add to that?
Yeah, a couple other things with that. Like, the other part of that component of that would be, all of our vendors are vetted and have the proper insurance. And so we can't have somebody else doing work on our job that's not properly insured. If you were to go in and do your own work, say you're drilling holes through the studs and maybe you drill through something that you're not supposed to, or you hit somebody else's work and cause damage to their work, it just opens up a lot of issues. And so for those reasons, it's not allowed.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we'll kind of get off of that subject. So no one's building their own house. We're going to do it for them. We've got that figured out. So what is the schedule to build a house? How will I know when the home will be finished? Jason?
Sure. So kind of the process would be to first, obviously, find the home that you love, meet with the community manager, and you'll sign a contract first, and then do your design studio selections, and then we'll do the permitting process and get started on construction of the home. The construction of the home time-wise varies a little bit between market. For Iowa here, it's between 4 and 5 months typically. And we typically do not give out a closing date until we're at like the pre-drywall or drywall stage. At the beginning, we can give you kind of an estimated time, kind of a month or so window. But once we get to that drywall time, then we can give you a firm closing date because the house is buttoned up by then. We've got the weather elements kind of out of the way, and it just finishes from there on out. So then at that point, we would give you a firm closing date.
Very good. Brad?
Everything to add to that, he covered it all. Schedule is designed to be built off of the cycle that we know we can perform on, and he covered all the rest of the aspects.
Brad, can we finish a house in 4 to 5 months in Kansas City?
No.
How long does it take?
Right now, in the current state of the market, you're averaging around 7-8 months.
Yeah, very good. A little bit longer.
Biggest difference is your permit cycle. There's is far different than what it is in Iowa.
Yeah, so it takes Kansas City anywhere between 30 and 60 days to get a permit. And how long does it take in Iowa?
A week to 2 weeks.
Unbelievable. We need to learn whatever's happening there because that would be amazing if we could get a permit in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Holy cow, game changer. Okay, so what happens if the closing date, the completion date is missed? Like, what's that communication look like? Do you want to start with that, Brad?
Yeah, absolutely. So being that we do have that weekly communication with our buyers, if for any reason, let's say it's a product delay or a labor delay mishap that it basically has a few dates missed that we know way ahead of time that we're going to miss that closing date. You will know the minute we know. We'll call you, let you know that we're not going to be able to meet the close date that we set, and we're going to have to reschedule. But keeping that open, honest communication allows for them to be heavily involved, 1 and 2, always communicated with. I mean, it's key. It's critical.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing with those phone calls once a week, like that conversation is being had quite a bit. And how often would you say that a closing date is changed more than once?
Right now, in the current state of the market, with a lot of the product disruption delays that have kind of gone by the wayside, maybe once at this point.
Okay.
But it's not very common anymore to change closing dates all the time. A lot of the product availability issues have started to settle.
Yeah. During COVID, it was all over the place. But we're definitely more consistent now, and we're really hitting those dates. Jason, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, it'd be the same here. Yeah, we had a period of 18 months or so that it was rough for everybody, but it's settled back out now.
Okay. And so the date that the buyers are given up front, they have a clear understanding that a more solid date will be given to them around the sheetrock time. And that's worked well?
Yeah, it has for us. Yeah. I mean, at the beginning, we're not going to give a true date. We would say, look, it's going to be mid-July or, sometime in July, just give kind of a window of time.
Okay.
So.
And when you say sheetrock, how many months is that before the actual closing?
It's about 2 months.
Okay. So plenty of time for financing and movers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Very good. Brad, do you want to talk about the final walkthrough and how that's handled? We call it an NHO, new homeowner orientation. But what does that look like?
The new home orientation is the final step of the house. Our job If for the buyers, which there's a lot of them you have out there that have never owned a brand new home. So you have to truly understand how your new home works compared to where you've lived before. So the new home orientation is set to be an educational moment for the buyers to walk through and learn how to use their furnace and their hot water tank, how to maintain them, how to operate the windows, how to operate their appliances, understanding the garbage disposal. It is a step-by-step process where we start in generally the kitchen, and we go room by room, detail by detail on how the entire home works. And after we get done with that, with all the paperwork, we'll go over your warranty, we'll go over the 30-day walks and our 11-month walks and all the details of what's going to happen thereafter and just how your new home's going to operate.
Great, Jason?
Yeah, just I guess, so at that same time, I think, a lot of other builders would typically call that like a blue tape walk. And so at that time, it is your opportunity to look for any cosmetic issues that would still be remaining in the house, and would jot those down on a list and get those taken care of prior to closing.
Very good. Seems pretty simple.
Mhm.
Jason, what is the warranty and how do I contact you if I have a problem?
Sure. So we offer a 1-2-10 warranty. So it's a 1-year builder warranty, which pretty much covers just about everything in the house. There's a 2-year mechanical systems warranty. So there's some of the mechanical systems in the house, your plumbing pipes, electrical wire, ductwork, stuff like that's covered for 2 years. And then there's a 10-year structural warranty, covers the structural components of your home. And that's a warranty that we purchase from a third-party vendor. That's part of the purchase price. So it's not something you pay additional for. It's already included. Contacting us for warranty, best way really is going to be via email. Document those issues that you come up with and document that. And then the builder would set up a time, or the vendor, if it's a vendor issue, come out and take a look at that issue and get it taken care of. Brad kind of touched on it, but we do a 30-day and 11-month follow-up. So that's all explained to you at the NHO. But if you come up with a couple minor things after the first couple weeks you've been there, we kind of just say, let's just jot it down and we'll address that at the 30-day. And then after the 30-day walk, if that something comes up a couple months down the road, if it's just a minor thing, again, just kind of keep notes of it and we'll take care of it 11-month. But if it's something that needs urgent attention, then email us and we'll come out and take a look at it.
Great stuff. Brad, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so we also have an in-house customer care team. So even your builder will do your 30-day walk, your personal builder, and your 11-month walk. But we also have our own in-house customer care team that is truly focused on making sure that you're taken care of through that entire first year process and beyond, through part of our 2-10 warranty. So you have somebody contact, you'll have a customer care email and a phone number to call along with your personal builder's phone number. So you have multiple points of contact to ensure that you're taken care of.
Love that. Sounds good. And this is a popular question, and I actually asked it in one of the previous webinars that we did. But should my buyer, if I'm a buyer's agent, get a home inspection? What are your thoughts, Jason?
Sure. So home inspection, you certainly can, but ultimately, throughout the entire building process, every stage of construction is inspected by city inspectors as well as our personal builders. And so all of the code compliant issues that a home inspector is hired to look at have already been looked at. And they're also covered by our warranty. So if something does go wrong, that's why we have the warranty. In my experience, a lot of home inspectors, that you hire them and they have to justify their fee. And so they're going to nitpick and try to find something. And generally, a lot of what they find is cosmetic stuff that's part of our NHO walk anyways. And those home inspections are typically done before the NHO. So, and maybe even before our final quality inspection. So a lot of that stuff is getting caught anyways. But if it gives you peace of mind, you certainly can do a home inspection.
Good answer. Brad, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so third-party inspections, you're hiring somebody from the outside to inspect a home is very common. It's something you definitely want to do in a resale world. You need it because a home may be 10, 15, 20 years old. But new home construction, there's so many points of inspections throughout the home that we have to follow to be able to meet code, like Jason had referenced, that it's inspected from its excavation, its footing, through framing and mechanicals at every point in the home, to where when the home is completely finished and you have a third-party inspector come in, when the walls are all wrapped up tight and all your finishes are in, they're looking through, more often than not, as Jason mentioned, cosmetic items, which we will find in an HO. So you're better off allowing your buyer to save that money and spend it on the inside of their home with that move that they're about to have than put it into a outside inspection.
Yeah, very good. So I would just summarize that with, for peace of mind, they are welcome to do a home inspection. Is it necessary based on the fact that we already have, I don't know, 20 different inspections on the house throughout the construction of the home? Not necessarily, but it is definitely an option, and they can have it done if they want it. Okay. Is there anything that you guys want to add? That's the list of questions that I had, and I thought realtors may want to know from the construction side of things. Is there anything I missed that maybe Jason or Brad, you would like to add before we open it up for questions?
Mm,
No?
I can't, the only other one that comes to mind for me is sometimes we'll get asked is, hey, can I have a key to the home so I can get in at any time? And the answer to that is you should always schedule a time to meet there. One, to ensure it's always safe and that your safety is being looked out for by us, since we are covering every aspect of the home as we're building it and making sure and ensuring that everything's getting done properly. And at any point in time you go in that home, it may not be ready for you to show your family and to be able to show your mom or your dad or grandma. So always schedule it and we'll ensure you can get in the home.
Yeah, the community managers are typically out there on the weekends and can give them access if it's safe. And then the builders are out there during the week and can get them access. So if they need access, we definitely will give them access. But yes, no keys are handed out. I don't even have a key.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Jason, anything you want to add?
No, just, I guess just on top of that, there are going to be times when we can't give you access, whether it's the front stoops maybe getting poured, or there's wet tile in the house. So we don't want you walking on wet tile, stuff like that. So there are going to be a few times, short windows of time where we're not going to want somebody in the house because they might damage something.
Yeah, true point. Okay. Well, now we can open it up for anyone who's attending to ask questions. It's open forum, so you can put it in the chat box, or what are some other options? I think that's the best way, is to put it in a chat forum or Q&A. Anyone have any questions for our builders? No? Man, I must have come up with some good questions.
Yes, so.
Okay. Well, then I guess we can wrap this one up. I thank you guys so much for being available and giving us some insight on the construction of Summit Homes. So I'm so glad also that we had representation from Iowa and Kansas City. So that was really awesome. And we will send the recording of this later in an email to everyone that attended. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll have to do this again soon.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you later.
Yep.
See ya.